Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, your host for today, and I have Bob Ketrick with us this afternoon. And as you can see, hi, Bob.
Hi, Joy.
Hopefully, they'll give you a warm welcome. If you decide to leave a comment, please leave your name or sign into the system wherever it tells you to do it, uh, so that we can answer you and know who you are. In the meantime, I do want to give a word and a shout out to our sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Christ. And he's technically for guitar and drum recording studio. He tries to bring the kind of creative ambiance and creativity and collaboration to his studio as much as he can. And he's pretty good at it. I've been recording with him. So, with all that being said, Bob, you are on. I would like to know. I read your bio; it was pretty thorough. But what was the very first time you got a guitar or heard music and decided that you wanted to play?
Well, that was pretty easy. I grew up with it. My older brother was a road musician, bass player,
Hmm,
and songwriter. And
really?
he's 7 years older. So I got to watch him. Let's see, at 18 and 19, he went out on the road playing bass and writing songs with the road band. I was probably 12 at the
Nice.
point. And it was just part of life. I watched him get his PA. I watched him get his equipment. I watched him practice. Became part of those practices. I got yelled at for playing the drums a couple times. I wasn't supposed to touch the instruments.
Oh,
And,
yeah, older brother.
but yeah, early on, and so I was given piano lessons starting at 7 years old.
Wow.
And probably by 9 or 10, I had already decided that I was going to be a pianist, and my role models were Elton John, Billy Joel, Ray Charles.
All
Uh,
right.
my whole ambition was to grow up and do a repeat, but with me doing it, me writing the music.
So you wanted to follow a track that your brother had already left, right?
Yeah,
But
it
in your
was
own way. Was he rock?
yes, yes. He was much more Grand Funk Railroad, that kind of stuff, much harder rock. I didn't
Ah,
really care for that nearly as much. But I do like it. I'll listen to it, and I love it when Lynn and the guys play it. It wouldn't be my choice to play. I like different artists, but we did develop a mutual respect on the idea that both wanted to be musicians. And he was the one that taught me guitar.
ah,
He has, I have it still today. I have a 1973 Martin D18 that I inherited from him when he passed away at 27. And he taught me to play on that. And one of the first songs I learned was "Mood for a Day" off Yes Songs. I
all
had
right.
no, I had no idea what I was doing. He'd say,
I
"Here,
never do, not even
play
now.
this." He'd say, "Play this," and I'd watch the finger pattern and go, "Okay,"
Well,
and he'd hand it
aw,
to me, and he'd give me the next phrase. And then, after a couple months of doing this, I could play that song.
wow.
I can still play remnants of it, but it's been years since I was that accomplished. Um,
Yeah, but you now, how old are you when you were doing this and you picked up the guitar? Because you said you
uh,
started piano at 7,
right.
and there's a lot of similarity between the two instruments.
Yeah, there is, and I do subscribe to the theory that learn piano first and then learn guitar too. Both instruments are critical to being an accomplished musician, and
Absolutely.
I do like them both very much. I consider myself mostly a pianist because that's what the whole self-image was as a kid. But I
Yeah.
also enjoy, like you saw last night. You saw me enjoying playing an acoustic guitar in some really good
Yes.
rock songs with the band we played with. I enjoy
Yeah.
that just as much. Um,
Yes. Yeah, I think I've listened to you do both, and I like both. I like that. I like the kind of music that you do. So
well, thank you.
I would consider that easy listening soft rock.
Yeah,
And musical. I mean, like country, has a story and it has the music, and it's not
yeah.
just
It's got some meaning to it, and the songs that I pick to play now are are really from songs over the years that have meant
connected.
something to me, helped me through
Yeah.
something that I connected to because the songwriter was trying to say something that they were feeling, and it was something that I could relate to too. So for me as a kid, music was pretty much everything. I grew up in a pretty rough household. Dad liked to drink a lot, and that was a problem. So what I ended up doing was, in order to get through growing up and the difficulties that come with that, and then the added of that problem, was music. Yeah. I'd go to the piano and I would play for hours, and you just feel better after doing it. There's just no therapy that's as good as sitting down at a piano or guitar and playing away for a while.
I do have to interrupt you for just a moment. Andrea says, hi, Bob, and join Bob. So, hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Glad you could join.
Andrea, thank you. Thank you for everything you do. You've been a wonderful friend.
Amen to that. Yes. Yeah. So when did you, so your brother gave you a guitar, you started picking out a few chords, and pretty soon you could play the song. Where'd you go from there?
Well, I kept playing through all childhood into college. And when I watched Tommy struggle so much as a road musician, not established with any band. They tried hard to make it. And the Boston album had just come out, Boston's first album, and Tom Schultz he went and got an electrical engineering degree. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to go for music one way or the other. And it makes more sense to go get a degree in engineering like Tom Schultz did. And then if for some reason I don't make it in music, I've got another degree and other skills I can do. And I ended up going to school, finishing a master's degree in computer engineering on top of the electrical engineering undergrad. And I went into the information technology field, designing microchips and circuits for the F-15 fighters.
Yeah.
That kind of put music on hold. My coaching started then, and I still played, but I had no one to play seriously with as far as a band or to write with. And it just kind of was part of life, but not a priority. It was like, I'll get to it. Right now, work and coaching's exciting, and music is still there. The nice thing is a lot of diving coaches play as well. I've got 3 or 4 that I play on the road with. So a lot of coaches are very musical.
So you travel with your diving group?
Yeah. Part of once they get to the point where they need national, international competition, you travel with them as much as you can. The international is a little different. You get picked for trips based on your hours. So in 95 and 96, when coaching took off, music really took a sideshow there, because when you start obligating yourself as an age group coach, you are there for them all week, and then on weekends you go to meets, and it's quite a commitment to being an age group coach and being there to get those kids through. So it ended up taking all my time, that and working, and the IT career was going good in Washington, D.C., and music just kept taking more of a back seat. I still played, and I would just play at home. I wasn't playing out anymore. I played out in college for a little while, and that ended once started into coaching and into engineering until I got out here, and then everything changed.
What happened when you came out here?
Well, I was looking for something else to go into my life. There was a lot that seemed missing, and I had been injured badly in 2000.
Yeah.
I was a coaching injury. I had hurt my neck. I herniated 3 discs in here. There's several scars from 3 different surgeries. And then my shoulder has 4 pins in it. They were separated when I was pulling on the rope to save an athlete from falling on the pool deck. These tendons got pulled loose and these discs got herniated. Then the neck surgeons fixed my neck, but they missed the shoulder. So it went about 12 years where I was just on disability and not working, lost both businesses, and it hurt too much to play. In fact, the doctors had told me that your neck injury is severe enough that you may never play again. And if you do get to play again, you will probably not reach the proficiency you had.
Well, I can tell you this. I have to interrupt you because there are so many musicians that do this. My last lead, I quit because of cancer in 2015, but he had a major stroke, and he was he was a musician, country musician, known well in this area, in the Tacoma area. And after that stroke, he had to, just rehabilitate himself enough to be as good as he eventually became, even as he was before. And doctors tell you certain things, but if you're determined, I swear to, this is the second lead I had that did that. And so it just goes to show, if you're bound and determined to do something you love, you will find a way.
I think the doctors were more covering their butts than, and it did seem that way for a while. With the neck fixed,
Yeah.
but the shoulder not fixed,
Yeah.
I'd still sit down for years and try to play. And the piano, my left hand just wouldn't hit the notes right, and I couldn't even hold the guitar neck anymore because I'd lost so much strength in the neck. I had 2 bone-on-bone nerve pinches in my neck, is what it ended up.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a dimension in pain that if you haven't ever experienced a bone-on-bone,
Yes, I have.
okay, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't
Yeah.
experienced it, you have no idea what magnitude pain that is.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I got myself fixed up in 2012 by going back and contributing to the sport. I ended up at my mom's on disability and basically broke after losing 2 businesses in my home, everything I'd worked for since college. But I still chose to contribute to life. I took a job coaching diving at my high school, the high school I graduated from. And that is how the shoulder got fixed. The senior that I was coaching, his father is a retired orthopedic.
Oh.
He saw me sitting across the pool coaching his kid, holding my arm like this, the elbow. And he says, "Come here." He says, "I know what's wrong with your shoulder. Go get an x-ray. You need to get this, this, and this done." He was absolutely right.
How long did it take you after getting this treatment before you could actually play without pain?
A couple of years. They had to put the tendons back in place and pin them. They had to cut off a half-inch of my collarbone, and they had to rearrange a few more things in here to make the shoulder functional again.
Yeah.
Once it did, though, a year or 2 later, I was able to get off pain management, which is going to the doctor every month and getting your medicine, and that just stinks. Then I slowly started getting more and more hand strength. I began to coach a little more. I began to spot a little bit again. It's when I got out here that things really started going. I moved to Seattle about 6 years ago. I bought a diving program out here, and I ended up picking up a guitar. Just needed something different in my life because all I was doing was coaching, and then the rest of the day it seemed pretty empty.
Yeah.
I picked up a guitar and started playing, and then I had these great triplets I coached. They're all at college now. I still live in their parents', one of the houses on their property. They egged me into, actually the father did, Steve egged me into playing a couple songs on July 4th, 3 years ago. So I put together Peaceful Easy Feeling because it was 3 chords, 4 actually. It's 4 chords for that one. You have to put the 4th chord in the chorus. But it was simple enough, and I hadn't had any singing lessons yet. But that one incident where Steve Gunn had me play at their house on the 4th of July, that ignited the desire. I was like, oh, I forgot about this, and I need to remember it. And then I found out from one of my coaching friends, Kelly. She told me about Lynn at the Jam on Dave's.
How long ago was that?
3.5 years ago.
Oh, so you've known him a while.
There's this guy, Lynn, he's from Bad Company, played with them for a while. He runs a Jam. You could probably go over there and play with them.
Cool.
And
Dave's, is that where you were, Dave's?
That's where I walked in one February with my 1973 D18 and a terrible pickup on it. One of Lynn's first comments was, "Bob, you need a guitar. You need a new guitar, Bob." So I went and got one. I bought a D28 from Martin and got some new acoustics in it. And that was really the beginning. I then I completely revamped my piano and rebuilt it and started playing again. So bit by bit, I began to regain my skills. I found a singing teacher. I learned to sing. And Lynn kept saying every week, goes, Bob, you're getting better every week. And that's all I needed to hear. Every single week, I would go in, I'm working. And he was right. It kept getting better and better and better.
I don't think you were there the time that I first went there. I don't even know how I got to it. I have no clue how I ended up at Dave's, but I did. And I played towards the end because there was a long line. And towards the end, I sang some country songs, of which these guys, they did their best. But Manny,
I think I was there.
Were you there?
I think I saw you do that. I remember the country being not quite what Manny was looking for. Remember that? Yes, it was at Dave's early on.
Oh God! And I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going back there. Never. That was terrible. Not because of what they did, but because of what I did. And so I don't know. Somewhere down the line, I ended up at the Red Dog Saloon or whatever they call that place, and very supportive. I mean, that Andrea and Susan and Manny and Lynn, yes, very encouraging. Because I thought I'd never go back up there, but
I felt like that once or twice. I'd embarrassed myself pretty badly in front of them,
like last night.
And what I was so shocked about was, as embarrassed as I might have felt about my performance, I didn't care. Lynn only cared that I tried and that I was working to get better.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the only real important thing. And I find that now that's a lot. That environment that Lynn creates is kind of unique. Yes. I haven't found a whole lot of jam nights and musicians that create that no judgment, nurturing. You're doing better. Here, do this. It'll help you improve. It was constructive direction, always, never derogatory, never insulting, always loving and caring. And I just couldn't believe that this guy was like this. He's played in front of 100,000 people.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. Had I known that, I'd have never gotten up there. Not in a million. It took me enough money to put me up there. But I said when I got home, because that was the first real rock music that I've heard in this area that wasn't up on a big stage. And we worked for Rhino production company, and so we were roadies and all kinds of different things. But anyway, and so I looked him up at home. I said, those two, at least that bass player looks to me like he's something more than just an area musician, weekend warrior. So I looked him up and I said to Kurt, oh my God.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I said when I looked him up.
Yeah.
He's got some experience.
So I guess the moral of this story for anybody who's out there listening, somebody is, because they're sending hearts and a fire.
Yeah, I think that's Raymond.
Is that Raymond again?
That's Raymond.
I gotta love him.
I think that's Raymond. Fire.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. I think that the moral of this story is the musicians that are out there, in at least up north and some down south too, when they put on a jam, the environment that they create, I think, literally draws people out of themselves because of just the ambiance, just the character of the people.
My stage fright is gone.
Yeah.
Like going to that environment for all this time, I don't care. I'll play in front of anybody now. Whereas I wouldn't back then. Yeah. Now, by going to that environment, it's been a tremendous asset.
Yeah. Well, I had a band from 2000 to 2015. So I was kind of used to that. But then I quit for 2-3 years. And when I went back to it, I brought all that baggage. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have gotten past it now.
Yes.
I'm really happy.
It's nice that we have people out there who want to share, that aren't so stuck on themselves that, you know what I mean?
I watched when you interviewed Lynn last week. And I think the most profound thing he said in the entire interview was that I wanted to make people feel something.
Yeah.
That was the reason he gave. Why did you do this? Why am I a musician and do this? I have the same answer. I want me to feel something too. I had gone so long without feeling anything that music brought me back to actually coming out of the depression that ensued when they told me I wouldn't play anymore, couldn't.
Yeah.
Put me on antidepressants because I was so distraught over this.
No.
Now I'm off them. And it's because of music. Music's back in my life. I have the joy of playing it with great musicians. I enjoy a great bunch of people out here. They're not only great musicians, but they're nice friends too. And they
Well,
care.
I don't know about that friend part yet.
Well, they are.
I think they are too, but I don't know. I just can't believe how supportive these musicians are, Lynn and Manny included, and his entourage, so to speak.
And many others too. I went out and I interviewed Raymond last week as a part of the mentorship program I'm in. You have to interview one successful person a month and report on it. Well, I picked Raymond first.
Oh, he's a character.
He's great. He's a couple levels ahead of me. He's got several albums out. He's been writing music. So that's where I want to go. So we had a great interview. And
you mean Raymond Hayden?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, it does. And it's good.
Sure, in fact.
Yeah. So
he's no slouch when it comes to
he sat with me for an hour and a half at Red Robin last week, and we had a great talk. And it was just the problems I've gone through and he's gone through are similar. It's like, well, do it for yourself. Don't worry about what others think. The music is for me. It's personal. And that was something I was struggling with because my older brother was a musician. Obviously, the family is not real thrilled about me being in music, but they don't understand that it's for me.
Yeah, but you know what? I used to play the piano when my kids were younger. They'd go to bed and I'd sit down on the piano and play for hours. That was my way of relaxing. I had 5 kids running around.
You know it.
And and my kids hated the music. I mean, they just could somehow they felt, I guess, that the music was replacing them. I don't know. But anyway, that was their problem. And I really didn't get a whole lot of
support. I find it hard to practice.
Huh? I didn't get a lot of support from my family, but then I met Kurt, and yeah. So during COVID, what did you do? I mean, we couldn't. The last time I jammed was February 14th. I think it was 2019 or 20. I think it was
2020. We got shut down.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. It was February 14th at the Twin Dragon. It was the last time that I played. And so I don't think I never saw him anywhere, so I don't think he was doing anything. The Jam of Dave's shut down. So what did you do during that period of time to keep going?
Practiced a lot.
Yeah, I did too for hours.
Hours.
Doesn't show, but I did.
Hours. I had it up until June. I had a dryland center for my athletes that I coach, and that's where you have springboards and trampolines and such. It's in a gymnastics type environment. So part of that was my rehearsal studio, and then I would coach for the 8 hours a day that I had the kids. We had to go to 4 groups of 6 athletes each to coach 24 kids. So I went from a 2-hour day to an 8-hour day coaching, and I did that. And then the rest of the time I spent at the studio either listening to the music I wanted to learn, learning that music, practicing performing it, singing it, playing the different parts, whatever it was I was going to play, if it was a piano part or a guitar part. And I just buried myself in music and learning and getting back into I needed to do it anyway. I needed to get that familiar again with the instrument, build up my stamina and build up my strength in my left hand. And which is pretty much back now. You saw me play last night. I'm not having any trouble holding the guitar anymore.
And I know when I first met you online and you told me about that, I thought you'd had a stroke.
No.
That was the whole shoulder thing.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
tore my shoulder apart and my neck apart with that. But
Do you dive?
a little bit. I'll still get up with the kids now and then, but I don't actively do it all the time. I started doing conditioning so that I get my weight goes down and that my stamina goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm able to where I couldn't even pick up equipment before. Last night I helped Lynn and Manny and Doug unload all their or load all their equipment out of the venue back into the
They
van.
got a lot.
They got a lot, and that PA is heavy. But I am now able to participate with them on loading out the equipment and putting it in the van. Whereas that was not possible 2 or 3 years ago. It was just too hard on my shoulder. But through staying with it and conditioning, gotten a lot better. So now I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for music.
Right. So when you were in this COVID lockdown, like we didn't lose any money, but obviously you had a lot of time in your hands, like I did. And was there at that time a desire? Did you start writing then, or you already been writing and you just continued, or what? How did that writing part get in there?
Part of the program that I'm in, the mentorship program for music, is available to you as a full education on music theory writing, advanced guitar playing. There's total guitar mastery. The guy is an incredible player. He's been in a couple road bands. His name's Tom Hess, and he had a band called Rhapsody on Fire. There was a road band, and they did very well with it. And he plays better than Manny can play.
Who can do
It's
that?
amazing. But this guy is something else. And what I like about Tom so much is that when I was a young coach, I ended up asking for a couple mentors, and I ran across Tony Robbins' Personal Power series, which is a great achievement series. If you want to really get your mindset into a manner that you're going to succeed at what you do, then Personal Power from Tony Robbins and his continuing education stuff is really critical. So I'm kind of what I did for being a successful coach. I got good mentors, I studied hard, and I worked hard. So now for music, I have got myself a really good mentor, and his name is Tom Hess. It's out of Chicago. I'll be spending a week with them this summer in guitar mastery, which is where they sit you down for 8 hours a day and you study and you work. And it's pretty impressive what gets done. So presently, it's daily practice on both guitar, singing, and on piano, and conditioning for weight loss and feeling good. Open jam nights to get my playing skills up and my performance skills up to the point where I can go and say, all right, I can play a 2-hour show for you tonight and be paid as a pro. Doing my mentoring of the course that I have to go through. It's quite an extensive course on listening as well as homework. You got to do homework too. So I feel like I'm back in grad school again. What else are we doing currently? Meeting a lot of the local musicians. I went out and I spent time with my voice teacher on Friday night. I met her voice teacher. She opened at the Seattle Opera as a singer. So I'm in good hands there. I met the guys in Tommy Wall and the guys from the Pat Benatar band Invincible. That was real fun.
What was the guy's name? Tommy
Tommy Wall.
Oh, Wall. Oh,
Tommy
Wall. I know Tommy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I went to his gym. There's a Irish place called Finity or Finati something in North Bend. And he used to have a jam on Sunday nights there. Did you ever get out there?
No, but Tommy did say that he lives near the Duval Jam and would come up and see us on Sunday sometime.
Oh, and yeah, we kidnapped him to get him there.
Yeah, probably. The other one I got to meet was Monty Smith. He's the lead guitarist from Invincible. That's Pat Benatar tribute band. Really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that show. Both of them. They had a Blondie show and a Pat Benatar show. And I guess the most exciting thing is presently, I have asked Lynn Sorensen to be my producer on the cover album, and Lynn has agreed to do so. So
right.
I'm really, really happy
Thumbs up on that. Thumbs up.
to announce that, yes, the first album will be coming out probably first of the year, maybe February. And it's going to be 10 songs, covers, just stuff I've been doing. It's to go through the recording process and to get something down on a recording that's professional.
Yeah.
And then from there, the goal is 2022 is the 10 song originals in the classic rock genre.
Mm.
They will be originals written by myself and then the collaborators that work with me.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I've got some great people to help me with this.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think, there's so many people I've met now that can want to and willing to help with this kind of thing. I wanted to say thank you to several people out here. One is Jeff Mills. Jeff was my first friend out here. He's the drummer in Nightwave as well as Power Cell,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
Lynn and
I've seen him.
Yeah, and he was the jams always because he was a drummer. And I met Jeff, and we became friends early on when I first started going in, and it was easy to stick with it and keep coming in because I had made friends with Jeff. And then it turned into Jeff, Manny, and Lynn as friends, and it just kept growing from there. And Andrea, Lynn's girl, is just fantastic as far as supportive and helpful as far as growing and as a musician.
Right.
And I've been very fortunate to know all of them, and Joel Hendry, who's one. He was part of my first show back on. We did a live stream. We did a live stream last year, and Joel was the first guitarist I sat and played with, and we did a short show during the pandemic. I wanted to make sure that I thanked all of them for their time and their effort.
Amazing.
So right now, the immediate is the cover CD with Lynn helping me and complete my career mentorship work. I've got about 20 lessons left to finish there. And then we're going to start with an original for next year.
All right. Yeah, I don't know how this all happened, but I went to that happy hour for Jessica Linwitty's happy hour and never wrote a song in my life, never thought about writing a song, didn't think I even knew poetry. And even though I sing it all the time, right? And I got roped into that writing thing. And I can tell you, there are songs that I put down within a half an hour. The song is ready as far as I'm concerned. And then it goes into the process with Chad. And there are other songs that I struggle with, like this one it's called Pieces One-on-One. And it's written because Roger challenged me to do it. And it's about heart. And I've sweat bullets on that thing. And one night, I think you were there when Chad came to play, and we were kind of in a dispute because I was trying to explain to him why I was, like, I don't get this concept. I just can't. This rock thing just doesn't sink in. We finally got it worked out, but I ended up crying that night and walking up.
I remember you were a little upset that night. Well, the creative process has struggles.
Well, Chad is he has the background in from Berkeley, School of Music.
I didn't know that.
And he's got this. He had to learn all this stuff about how to put a song together and sing it and do all these instruments. And the man is so incredibly talented that if you want something that he doesn't see your point, you have to stand up to him. Well. But I love the guy, really. He's great. But yeah, sometimes he's not as easy as Lynn. He's more technical. Lynn is more of
he's more of a feel. He's looking for
a
touchy
kind of guy.
I had taken one song to him. I took one song to him and asked about it and said, "There's a lot of flaws." He says, "Well, but you're really looking for a feeling. Mm-hmm. Are you conveying what you want in the song?" I said, "Well, yeah, but there's still these imperfections." He says, "Let it go." Your message is there. Sometimes it's just a feeling you're looking for.
That sounds
And it allowed me to let go of,
yes.
I could be like Chad, that obsessive perfectionism of do it again, do it again, do it again.
Oh, I don't think that I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's like that.
No?
I think that I came in with a lot of baggage as far as from my band and all the different stuff that we used to do, and then not doing it for a while, and then coming into his studio where I think I lost the technical part of it somewhere along the road. And so we had to go revisit that. And it wasn't,
Okay.
it,
Well,
it was a lot of it was me, because when I listened, I wanted a lot of that stuff that Lynn likes out of the song.
okay.
So,
Well,
yeah, but he does have his own mind, that's for sure. Where Lynn, you know, I don't know.
that's the
He's just
value.
that kind of guy.
That's the value. That's the value of the third party objective observer. Someone else to give us input and say, maybe you want this instead of this.
So that's probably what I needed, and that's what he was giving me. So
Yeah.
I can't.
That's what we're looking for. I think that's why we use collaborators. I want other people's opinion on this before I go stamping it with my name on it.
Exactly. That's what I have coming up, and
and I hope that's something I can do soon. So far, all the stuff anything I've been putting out is just progress, so people can see what I'm doing and I'm having fun with music and that it's getting better. But there's nothing that I would publish yet and put my name on.
Yeah.
That hasn't gotten there yet. And that's what
I was too stupid to even know it was horrible.
Well, I knew I was when I got back to this. I listened to one of the more recent versions, like Wednesday night, Lynn and I We're Here with Ronnie Lee. And I listened to that and the harmonies that he throws in there. And I go back and I listen to the one, the first day I went in there, I recorded what I played with them, and we did Wish You Were Here. It was one of the first songs. It was terrible. You hear my voice cracking and shaking all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And then to listen to the one from Wednesday is like, okay, that work was worth it. You got better.
Yeah.
So it's really, I can hear it now. I don't question it anymore. I know what I have to do to close the gap to professional. And that's the next gap, is to close it, so that what gets put out on that CD, it's what Lynn and I want. I picked Lynn because I want that feeling. I want that rawness for the rock and roll record, which he talks about. I don't want it to be a pop record. I want it to be more of a rock and roll. And that's what I want to write too.
I find that kind of hard to square with what you've been talking about as far as your background and learning on the keyboard and all the rest, to the kind of music that you were attracted to through Elton John and who's the other people, I can't remember, but
Elton John, Billy Joel, Rick Charles, Eagles, Queen.
Those Eagles are actually country known.
Actually, yes, they really are.
Yeah, they are. A lot of the rockers that we considered rockers eventually.
We did. In the 70s, we considered that rock and roll.
Yes, exactly. And so when they came now when you say rock, like you're talking about, this is where my confusion comes in, because all the rock and roll I know is now country.
Yeah, that's true. So I would say it's a middle of the road.
So now, what kind of tone, what are you hoping to move towards as far as your rock? I mean, there's heavy metal and grunge.
Yeah. Oh, no.
God, there's all kinds of stuff. Hip-hop and
exactly the stuff I've been doing. That's the influences, and that's the music. I'll take different things from each one of those artists and utilize them. Everything from songwriting techniques, key changes, vocals, adding harmonies. There's just so much to be learned from listening to all this different music and studying the way they write it. I think one of the things I like about the Eagles is the complexity of the music they write. Nothing in there is simple. You can take apart New Kid in Town and try that.
Have you heard that the band that does, they're called Eagle Eye, and they're a tribute band to the Eagles? Have you heard them? They're from Canada.
Yes.
Oh my God, their harmonies are out of this world. I think that's when you say Eagle Song, that's the first thing that comes to my mind are those beautiful harmonies.
Yep. So I'll be looking for good singing with 2 or 3 people adding harmony to it, a richness in the music. I don't want to do I don't want to say a Foghat or a Grand Funk Railroad type thing. That's not where it's going.
Okay. All right.
It's piano and guitar, kind of what you've been hearing from me for the last year or two, plus adding it to my originals. Now putting the thing I like about writing is I get to say what I want to say. And when I write it down in a song, then I can say it over and over again. And that is the real appeal to me, is being able to speak through music. And I do have a lot to say about my life, about life in general, the world, the state of the world, and everything else on. I'm now glad that I can say it through music, which is what I'll be doing over the next year.
Yeah. I'm not sure. After Lynn said something to me once at a jam about that whole that feeling thing that you're expressing emotions, and so I looked that up. I thought, what is he saying to me? I don't, I don't get this. So I just spent, I don't know, maybe 3 days and research it. And as far as what makes a good singer and how what this is all about expressing feelings. And what I found out was pretty much what you and Lynn have been saying the last 2 interviews, and that is that you can be the most beautiful voice in the world, but if you can't convey and connect to those people out there,
that's the whole point.
You've lost it.
You can be technically a beautiful singer, but if you can't put your emotion behind it and reach those people with the message you're trying to put out, you're not effective. Effective musicians reach their audience. And I've seen it already in some form by the people singing my songs back to me. That's a real thrill. When you're playing
do that when you sing the Eagles.
Yeah, I got people singing a crazy little thing called Love back to me. We were back in days. Oh, you guys rock. And it was like, that was the greatest feeling in the world, was to reach people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of addictive for me. I like that. And music is its own reward. I got something posted on my Facebook that Sting wrote. It says, if you play music with honesty and purity, it'll heal your wounds. It'll make your life worth living. And music is its own reward. And you know it, and I know it.
Yes.
Music is its own reward.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very well doing.
Moving on from the here and now and your philosophy and what you're striving towards with your music, what's the next step now? What are some of the primary things that you're looking for? Do you have like a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, or are you just kind of going where it's taking you, or do you have a clear idea? Steps.
That's a great question, because that's exactly what I'm tackling nowadays. For diving, usually plan a year or 2 at a time, depending on the athletes. Well, before, the music was just try to get your skills back, learn how to sing. And now it's like, okay, now what are you going to do with it? Because you got people that want to play with you. You got music enough to play and entertain with. And you're working hard through mentorship to become a professional musician. So right now, the plan is to get this album down. That should close the gap on the singing skills and the playing skills to getting to the point where we can play out, keep expanding the song repertoire, collect an array of musicians, 2 or 3 drummers, 2 or 3 bass players, 2 or 3 guitarists that can all be interchanged. The problem with playing with these good musicians is
they're always busy.
They're busy. That's right. So you either have to get dates where they can make it or pay them more, one or the other, because it's a business. So I've got a good array of people that have said, I'll play with you. So now it's the album. And then the first year will be putting the band together. I've already got most of the set list done and talked to the people about it. And that'll be more January, February. And then next year, the 2022's goals and plans are to be playing out, with the band and writing the originals. And as they're done, start integrating them into the show. Going, here's a new one. This is an original. And then introduce the music that way, along with a full marketing campaign. Websites, mailing lists, posts, distribution of music through the media exchanges, Spotify, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of electronic setup to do. I have started a guitar school. I want more freedom, so I think a balanced life between diving and music is probably ideal for me. So I'll be coaching a little less kids. I won't be coaching 40 or 50 kids anymore. I'm going to keep a small team. I'm going to keep a small team, kids that really want to dive hard. And then I can work hard at music and work for the band.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got some of this down, but I'm still struggling with the return. I'm not getting any return. Everything is going out. Nothing has ever come in because when you put it on all those streaming stations or whatever you want to call them, networks, you don't get, you have to have millions of people to get any profit of any kind. And Jessica Lynn Whitty is always saying that her money and most musicians' money is actually playing out there. And, it's,
yeah, if you get Chad did really well with getting a song published. That's always the best thing to get is something that gets published and picked up, because they'll pay for that. But I think the rest of the money does come from playing out, and then your promotion's there. But I can see how much that it's going to take time, and this takes me back to the story of the olive tree, where farmer plants it, and 1 year goes by and sees nothing. Next year goes by, sees nothing again. He asks the owner, should I get rid of it? It's 2 years and it's bearing no fruit. And the owner says, why don't you go back and dig around the soil and nurture it and give it 1 more year, love, care, and attention, and then see what happens. And after the 3rd year, it begins to bear fruit. I think that's what our careers are like. We're going to do a lot of just things that aren't going to get any reward back for you. It's just going to be setting the stage for where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I
don't know. It's there are a lot of roadblocks. You'll see this as you as you go along. There's so many roadblocks all the time. There's always new challenges, always new something else. It's like trying to juggle.
Roadblocks.
More balls. What'd you say?
Stones. Which are they? They can be either. You can step over them or let them sink you. I try to use the engineering that I've come up with and problem solving to get past any of those problems. I was going to show you something I showed Lynn.
Okay.
Here, reminder for musicians. This is what we all need to remember. You will get rejected.
Yes, I put that out, and I put that on musicians.
You did. You will have people dislike your music.
Yes.
And not everybody likes my music. You will lose money. You will have sleepless nights.
Yeah, that I know too.
You will be ignored on social media.
I haven't really had that problem yet. Yeah.
You will play small venues. You will play small venues. You will almost talk yourself out of it again and again, but you want to quit. You will feel like giving up. You will almost give up, but you won't. It'll be worth it. You put that out.
I did.
So I'm throwing your own words.
Yeah,
right back at you.
You did. Good one.
Right. And you know what? It's okay because not everybody likes Kiss albums and not everybody likes Quiet Riot, but there's people that love it. And that's great because it serves them. I'm not trying to serve the world.
All right.
Just people that are interested in my music. That's it.
Yeah. It's when you start gigging. I spent 15 years gigging, and there was every kind of beer you could think of. There, you have this this gig at a casino, right?
Mhm.
And one of your players, like my bass player, it didn't show up. It wasn't a casino, but and we called him and we said, "Are you coming?" And this was a hard fought gig. I mean, whatever. And he said, we said, "Where are you?" And he says, "Las Vegas." What? And so luckily I had a rhythm player who is a singer too, and he covered the drum part of it. I mean, if you've got a good bass player, you don't need a drum, really. I mean, they can lay down a beat and keep it going. We made it through the night, but I think I got a whole new crop of gray hair. That was just one of many. Yeah, but you're right. In what you read, I put that out there because no matter how beaten down I've been through physical illness or whatever, I keep coming back to it. All my life, I've come back to it. So it's got to be a reason.
Yeah, I've never been able to shake music either. It just keeps coming back.
So when do you think the first time we're going to see, when you said in January or February, March, that we're going to see you do a gig somewhere?
Yeah. Should be, at least that's the way I'm planning it now. I've got some things that need to take place first here. Like the guitar school needs to be up and running. I've got to pick up more students. I need to fix that for just for spending money problems. I just like having it around.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get the album done,
go ahead.
Album done, then I'll be ready to put the set list will be fine, ready to go out. Just I want to make sure I'm at a certain level with proficiency through each song before I go out. I wouldn't want to stop in the middle of a song, especially with Lynn nearby.
Oh, did you? That was
I won't do again.
Oh, that experience.
And, we had just started. We were playing. What was it? Lion Eyes, and a lot of times if they don't know that it's 3 verses, a chorus, 2 verses, a chorus, they stop in the middle of each verse. Is it going to be a verse or a chorus next? And the drummer stops, and they're waiting for me, and I'm like, I don't even remember the next words now. And I was like, all right. And we're looking for Manny. It's like he's not there, so I had to play something.
Oh.
Anyway, it's never a dull moment playing around Lynn and Manny.
No.
Never a dull moment, is it?
No, I kind of wonder where I'm going to find a lead or a bass player, a drummer. I mean, down south, country music people, I always found a lead very easily. Mm-hmm. And, I up here in the north, now that I'm older and I've got physical issues, I don't really know. I just don't worry about it and think, I don't have a plan. I just think, well, it's got to be.
What you're doing is great. 1, the show is great. You're helping other musicians, and 2, you're always out of jam nights. You'll find somebody to play that part.
Yeah. I have. I've had some really, really super musicians in my life, and that's they're hard to find. They're really hard to find. I mean, not to say that somebody who isn't a professional musician isn't a good musician. I want to clarify that. But I just happened to be graced with people that had been, like one of them was inducted into the Swing Hall of Fame. I mean, he had been on the road, played with Neil Diamond. I was just blessed. I don't know.
That's really good.
Lucky. Yeah, I was lucky. I had good people. And there is the thing about your plan that I think is really, really important and worth reemphasizing, and that is having those backup players. We eventually formed. I had jammed with like 24 different bands before I ever started my own and found my people. And at the time, of course, they were all over the South, and we were living in the South, in Tacoma area, and so forth. And it's really important to have people that can just know your music well enough to just fill in on the spur of a moment, because so much happened and you might find your bass player in Las Vegas. So,
Possibly.
so yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about everybody in this North End, is that they do that. They do that. And they come in and they go in and out of each other's bands. But you need that. That is critical. And that they know the music, that they can play it on a spur of a moment.
Yeah, I love the jam nights because you're forced for the interchangeability, playing with different people. And here you go. Here's your drummer. Here's your guitarist. Play. And it makes you better. It really does. You have to overcome.
No, I've gone home and cried an awful lot, Bob. Oh, I was terrible. I'll never get up there again.
I said the same things. Oh, you were terrible tonight. I can't believe you did that.
Oh, really?
You're an idiot. All things like that. But, they don't care. As long as you keep coming back, keep playing and trying. And look where it got me in 3 years.
Yeah.
It got me a long way. It got me back to being to the point where I'm confident that this is worthwhile doing now. I have no more questions on my physical skills. The pain is almost completely gone now. I have very little problems with it anymore. I still have sometimes. Like after loading the equipment, I hurt a little bit last night and hurt a little bit this morning. But, it's okay. That's just part of continued healing and continued strengthening of the shoulder and neck. And that just makes it easier to keep doing the work, because now I know I can support it. I can do the physical work and the singing. I can do the moving of the equipment now. And that stuff a couple of years ago just was like, oh, why are you doing music? You're going to disappoint yourself. You're hurt. And kept being determined, if I've gotten this much better, then I can finish the job.
Okay, so there's a trick right there. It's positive self-talk. And I'm learning this, that if I allow this to defeat me, and I go down that road when I come home, and I don't look at the positive things I did, it would definitely beat me. So I'm hoping that people who are listening out there realize that this is a struggle. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and meeting and connecting with the right people along the way.
I have a couple of things. We only have a few minutes left, so I want to share this.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything.
Amen.
This is what I surround myself with.
Yes.
This is one of them.
I love it.
That's to remind me that this is, in order to get success, this is your success nutrition facts.
That's cute. I can't read exactly what it says. What did they say?
I'll read it for you. It says nutrition success facts. Serving size, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Hustle, 100%. Focus, 100%. Persistence, 100%. Discipline, 100%. Failure, 100%. Risks, 100%. Patience, 100%. Percentage of the daily values are based on high levels of ambition. So it's, what you surround yourself with and who you surround yourself with are critical to your success.
Right.
And that's why I like this mentorship program I'm in, because it keeps me reading the books I need to be reading. We read things like.
What you're getting from them? The
Pardon?
thing you just showed me? The thing you just showed me, is that on that mentor program that you're on?
No,
is that
it's stuff I got. It's stuff I found online, but it's consistent with the program, which is why I get it. Okay. Right. It's with the teachings. And one of the books we have to read is Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand is the author, and also Virtue of Selfishness, which the title is very misleading. It's a good read.
What's it called again?
Virtue of Selfishness.
Okay.
By Ayn Rand, Aynrand. You should read. It's a great book for all musicians. So is Effortless Mastery. It's another great book by a jazz musician.
Mm-hmm. Can you put these on our site for? A lot of people watch this afterwards. They have to work and so forth.
I'll put some comments in. Mm-hmm. That'll be fine. I'll put some comments in. Okay.
And keep us posted to when you're doing all these things, when they come to fruition, so we can support you.
I will. And thank you for having me on the show today, Joy.
Well, I
It's been a
have
pleasure.
at the end, I always have one last thing that I ask, and that is
Okay.
from the time you were 7 years old until the time you're your age right now, you've always had, it sounds to me, from time to time, there may not been a periods where you were able to do it, but you seem to have always had music in your life. And of all the things that you've done, um, could you recall things that were more memorable than others, or are they all just like a string of pearls or little things at a time
Oh,
that you put together?
I think each event had some aspects to it that I really liked. I mean, getting kids to win at junior nationals and getting a kid in the Olympic trials was a thrill. Then I got the honor of traveling the world and representing the United States as a coach. They weren't all my athletes, but when you do this, you go as the coach and you represent all these different great athletes from your country. I mean, traveling the world for as a coach for the USA was a great experience. But then again, so is playing music on stage with Lynn and Manny and Jeff. That's another great experience. So each one, each experience and each achievement through my life has had its own merits and its own bells and whistles with it, its own attractiveness. But the one that's always stayed with me is music.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be a music teacher and a diving teacher. I've always been a teacher too. I've always taught my entire life. From age 18 or 19, I started teaching diving and found that I had a knack for it.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to building up the guitar school and having fun with it, as well as building up my music career and writing lots of music and hanging around with Lynn and all this other guys, and we just have so much fun together.
All right. Well, good plan. I like it. So I do want to thank you for joining us today, Bob. It's been a pleasure. And we're kind of at sort of the same place, and it's good to know there's somebody out there trying to swim like I am.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Well,
it was a pleasure. I'll put some comments on for the listeners.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
And can you, I don't know how you do it, but can you get a photo of that thing you just showed me that has the 100%?
Sure. I'll photograph them and put them on for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent. No problem.
All right, Bob.
Okay.
Do thank you for coming, and I hope you come back sometime after you've gone through these things and see where your perspective is at that time.
Excellent. I look forward to telling you how well it turns out.
All right. And thank all you listeners out there. I do appreciate having you with us today. And stay tuned. Next Monday, we have Stephen Padilla. All right. Goodbye, guys. Take care.
Bye,
see you down the road.
Bye, Joy.
Bye.